Look at that smile on Joe's face. We are coming at you today with good news, finally. Episode 17 has a win involved, but we will get to it down the line. Joe, how are you doing today?
It's great. Doing great over here. Hey, everybody. Solid day today, long day. We had our team summer run tonight, so a lot of basketball to talk about. A lot of basketball is a part of my day as well. We're filming this on the same day as the 11 a.m. Camps kid game, so I feel like I've been either half or full paying attention to basketball since 11 a.m. this morning. So long day. But, like you said, finally some good news and some happy things to talk about.
Yeah, it doesn't start happy, but before we get to the first game of the week for us, we will cover up some WNBA and some team news first, as we'll get to in the Sun game. Layla Khan does come over and join the Connecticut Sun. Joe's been dying to talk about her all and see her all season long.
Viva la France!
So unnecessary. Um, but it comes at the cost of Katiara Diaby getting cut and waived. I do think it was the right move between her and Peters does have the experience and vocal leadership in the locker room. So I would say I agree with the move. Um, I even wrote this in the comment. A couple of people I don't think understood the move at first when they said they were cutting her. I don't think they understood it was to bring Layla in. And I just reminded people in the comments, like, we got better today. Like, this was a move for the Connecticut Sun got better today, and I think we saw it this week. But again, before we get into that, is there any other news? I'm already forgetting before the one thing I wanted to say before I forget that.
Yeah, no. The other one was the All-Star team was announced. Unfortunately, no Connecticut Sun players. I mean, we won't run through the list because we might have a little fun game going during the bye week. But
Yeah,
no Connecticut Sun players.
it's a blessing. It's
But
good practice. Or it's off time. We can all gel. We can all hang out together, get to know each other more, get Layla introduced to the team, get her more involved with the players. We don't have Marina or Tina going away for a few days. We got everyone together. It's a blessing.
yeah, and like we talked about it, Marina was probably the only one who was on pace to actually be an all-star with how deep the front court was this year around the league. Yeah. So with Marina being hurt, we've had a bunch of different players step up inconsistently. So there wasn't anyone else that would have been competing for a spot. Plus, we were a 2-win team. So not much to highlight for individual play, throughout this first part of the season.
Yeah. So yeah, we might next week. Well, we will. We'll draft our in our. I don't know. It'd be a draft all-star episode, but we'll highlight the all-star game. We'll still have to preview the games coming out of the week, but we will draft our own all-star teams, and whoever will add up just the points, and whoever's team wins gets on the all-star game trophy between me and Joe.
We like to compete.
Yeah. It's a fake trophy. It's not real, but in our minds, it's real. So yeah, the other news. I don't know if you saw today. Well, first before the bigger news, JC Sheldon I saw has new sneakers with I forgot what the brand was called.
Oh, I saw it too. I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, I have it on here. I was just looking at them. They're very affordable for me, and they look very nice. And looking at
Hollow?
my size,
HOLO? Hollow?
That sounds right. It was something with an H. Yes, it is hollow. Yep, hollow.
Yes.
And the pink ones were cool.
Which is awesome because you wouldn't think someone. I know she was a top 5 pick last year, but just I wasn't expecting. You see the Asias, the Ionescus, the Clarks, and then all of a sudden it's just like JC Sheldon debut shoe. I'm like, sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, Hollow is not a brand I'm too familiar with, so
No,
I want to see who else could be on their roster. But um, yeah, that's pretty cool. Maybe it's an Ohio-based thing.
could be.
Um, but yeah, might have to get a pair. If No Shade ever starts churning the old profits.
Hollow, give us a call. Not hashtag not a sponsor.
Yeah. But somebody else got their own shoe announced. She's having a huge week. Angel Reese. I think it's the A1s or something they're calling them. But that's not her only news. She is on the W cover version of 2K25. I don't know if you saw the 3 covers.
I did. It was
SGA,
SGA,
like
Mellow.
a very boring SGA cover. Angel Reese in a slightly cooler cover, and Mello in the coolest cover with him doing the 3 pose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to get this game at all. I would love to get just a WNBA game for half the price if you take out half the game. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I haven't
I know
played. I
you
haven't
can only
played.
do a little bit of stuff with the W.
I'm a gamer, and I haven't played 2K since about 2022. Like, I'm a big fan in games of like rebuilding rosters for like sports or doing fantasy drafts. And I feel like the NBA is so hard because the money and the contracts in the NBA are so lucrative that you really can't just like rebuild, because then you're having to give someone $75 million after like 2 years. So I've been foreign to 2K basketball for a while, but congratulations to Angel. It's obviously a big deal being on the cover like that as one of the 3 options.
Yeah, I have one of the games with the W, and with the W access, you can't um, do a franchise. You can't do a draft. You can do like playoffs, and you could do like games. It's like
Oh, it must have been one of like when they were first introduced then.
yeah. So I hope it's upgraded. If it is, I got to get last year's. That's what you got to do for a fraction of the price.
Right.
And then when next year's comes out, get this year's. Um. All right. Should we get into the review? I almost hate to even review this game.
Yeah, but it's still worth reviewing.
It happened. It happened.
It did happen.
And it wasn't pretty. Game 1 of this week, the 8-9 Aces came into Mohegan Sun to take on the 2-15 Sun. We were coming off 9 straight losses, 4 in a row by double digits. Tina was out of the starting lineup. She was day-to-day, they said, but she was not listed as out. We learned she had a hurt shoulder, but she's always been dealing with a hurt shoulder, as she's been saying. So it was nothing crazy, but her sitting is, I guess, significant. But as we come to go on in this game, she was playing like she was not hurt at all.
It was much ado about nothing.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird that she did end up sitting, but yeah, something must have been wrong at some point for her to have to sit. But yeah, adrenaline was pumping or something. But Jaylen Brown has been out with an illness. She was out all week. Don't know when she'll be back. But
Was that? Do we have confirmation if that was like a concussion or something from when she hit her head?
No.
Like
all I saw was illness.
I was just
I don't even
curious.
know where I saw it. It wasn't on the injury report.
No, I saw it on Twitter as well. That it was just.
I think it might have been on the game. It flashed on the screen. So it's something maybe.
But I was just curious because she hit her head pretty hard in the previous game. So I was just like,
Could be.
if it was a concussion or some kind of symptoms that she's still feeling, but it's not concussion symptoms. But
yeah, she was on the bench next to Marina all week. So
yeah.
So the starters were Bria, JC, Sanaya, Morrow, and Liv. So Morrow stepped up in the spot. Started the game with 4 straight possessions without scoring. First shot missed. Next 3 possessions were turnovers. 5th possession, Morrow scores on the 2nd offensive rebound. 2 missed layups prior by Rivers. Luckily only down 6-2, so not a good start, but Like we've said in the past, it didn't kill us. Only down 6-2 after 5 or so possessions of only making 1 bucket. We're letting the Aces just get wide open, though. All their buckets seem to be unguarded people in getting to the hoop or shooting wide open shots. 3 minutes into the game, though, Layla Khan makes her debut, and all of Connecticut gets on the edge of their seat. She subs in for JC. Honestly, just you could have had her start at that point. I don't know, at 3 minutes. As a coach, what's the mindset there?
I think you don't want to disrupt the starting lineup any further. I mean, she had only had 2 practices under her belt, and it's not like she was a player who was here last year and then went overseas and then coming back. Like, she's also brand new to everything.
Yeah.
And, JC has been one of our better players. Seems like Bria's pretty locked into the point guard position as of now as well. So, like, I wasn't against it. I was just very surprised, like you, that she was first in 3 minutes into the game, like, ready to go. I was like, wait, who's 40? You texted me, I think, who's 47?
I just said 47. Yeah, that's a bad number.
And,
I hope it has significance to her or something, because if not, we got to get her a new number.
I feel like the only 47 I can remember is Andre Karolinko, but there's probably no correlation there. But
I don't know.
But yeah,
knowing you, Andre Karolinko was like number 6.
No, he was AK-47. It was his nickname. One of my favorite players. Don't even test me with Andre Karolinko knowledge.
True. Yeah. So she's not handling the point when she comes in, though. At this point, she's I mean, yeah, like we said, she's had 2 practices, so it's hard for her probably too. But Bria is still handling the point. On defense, we go to double somebody and just leave somebody wide open every time, and they easily find them. I texted you a few times. I'm like, why are we doubling if like it's just somebody's getting open and they're finding them every time? First time with the ball for Lacan. She didn't find anyone else move or get open, so she drove herself nicely, got to the free throw line, and hit both for her first W points. Tina checks in with 5 minutes gone in the first, so find out that she's fine, and you didn't have to switch her for Bria in your fantasy points, which would have been fine, but Bria had a good game, as we learned. Lacan is really fast. We both noticed this. I think everyone noticed this. The commentators were talking about it. She can really get by her defender pretty easily. She just needs to keep the ball under control and hit the layup. We didn't really play well in the first quarter. We're still in it. A third of our points came off free throws, and the Aces haven't even been to the line yet. 16-12, Aces up, end of 1.
Yeah, I mean, it was an ugly start to the game. It was, I mean, a lot of fouls on both sides. Fortunately, ours were the non-shooting variety. Layla comes into the game very foul happy. I think it's got to be pretty hard where in the European leagues, whether it's playing for the national team, whether it's playing for your just like club team, it's a lot more physical. So you could see like very early some of the frustration that Layla had, like pressuring up on a Jackie Young or a Chelsea Gray, and there was a bump or something, and it was like quick whistle, foul, immediate.
Yeah, I feel fouls a lot.
Huh?
Yeah, she's getting called for fouls a lot.
Yeah, and they're play on fouls most likely in Europe, but like that's what happens. I mean, I go back to Luka Doncic for the NBA. Obviously, it's the easiest comparison for me with European style coming to America, and he's said it's so much easier to score here because they call a lot more, and like you're not allowed to stand in the middle of the lane, and like the rules are just different. It's a different style of basketball, so it's different for her versus players who have just like been playing in the W and then went to their abroad team for a couple weeks and then came back. Like she has to pick up very quickly a completely different style of basketball.
You're not allowed to compare her to Luka. You can only compare her to Karolinko.
Hey, we may be heading to that kind of a player for us right now.
But I hope she has a better career than Karolinko. shoot for the higher. Let's shoot for Luca.
Right. But anyway, so like seeing her first early minutes, like, she got into foul trouble very quickly. But at the same time, the few possessions she did have the ball in her hands, you could just tell it was like a different speed. It was almost surgical the way she kind of like came in and like knifed a dribble drive, or she kind of like stop and go. And like you could just tell she moved differently. I think I even texted you. I'm like, she's already like a top 3, top 4 like athlete on our roster. And it was something we've been missing because as much as we love JC, she's undersized. Sanaya's long, which is great. Marina's not that type of athlete with the long arms and the athleticism. And like no one on our bench matched that description either. So like having a big guard like her, at least, and again, I'm more talking now as full picture between the two games, which we could probably get into afterwards. But just it was a nice change of pace where you're like, oh, she came in and like you could see she was starting to do something. So while I was surprised was I surprised she was the 6th man? Not so much. Was I surprised that she came in 3 minutes into the game? Yes. But, we kept it close in an ugly first quarter. Jackie Young picked up 2 really quick fouls, and, we were able to kind of execute to, keep ourselves attacking. And like you said, we shot a lot of free throws in the first quarter to show for it.
Mm-hmm. In the second, LeCann got her first assist in the W, hits an open Tina down low to open the scoring. Tina has woken up sometime after the middle of the first. She was doing her normal long 2 jumpers, fade away. But early or mid second, she's digging deep with the hurt shoulder, I guess. And she's playing well low. She's hitting the low post. She's what's it called? Bang. What's that move? Dropping the shoulder.
Drop steps. Yeah,
drop steps. She's playing the style of ball I wanted her to play kind of all season instead of just take the shot. She started doing that for the rest of the game. Morrow, who hasn't been able to do much yet, chucks a wild hook shot instead of finding an open and screaming for the ball, JC in the corner. This was a play I texted you about.
Yeah.
We shared a UG, like just a rookie mistake. She's worried about the clock and had more time than she thought. Bria got a steal and had a nice find to JC for a corner 3. She did get JC her nice open 3 for the game. Dangerous but good pass from Lindsay Allen to Tina down low for a bucket before the half ends. Aces outplayed us in the second significantly more than they did in the first, though. 43-28 at the end of the half. Aces are up. Tina has 10 at this point. No starter. Well, no one else really actually has more than 4. Rivers has the 4 on 2 of 7. You want to say anything else about the first half?
Yeah, no, their bench minutes, they were very good. I told you in the preview, like, we have to win the minutes that Asia's not on the floor, and like we did not do a good job of that first half and in the third quarter. So huge difference there. A couple of the Mora shots in the second quarter. Like, she's not a chucker. That's not the right way to call it, but she's not afraid to put it up. And sometimes she takes bad ones or just not in rhythm ones because she's trying to create if there's stagnant. So I think it's a rookie curve that you're trying to build
I'm
up.
almost never mad when she shoots.
No, I'm not either. Really not. And like, I think it's also her realizing, like, in the moment, hey, maybe I need to try to make a play and go out of her way to make a play when she might not have to at that point in the possession. But yeah, I think a couple of those just lead to bad shots for us, or it leads to transition for them because it was, an out of rhythm. We'll call it a runner, I think, is the one that she takes that I don't love. When she catches and squares up and shoots on an on-balance shot, whether it's a 3 or a mid-range jumper, love them. It's just some of the running floaters are probably not the highest quality shots and probably what Coach Mezzanine's not looking for. Sometimes I watch him on the bench and I can see his reaction and just be like, really? We just shot that shot? Not just more like
whose reaction?
Coach Mez.
Okay. What's his full name?
Mezzian.
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 Keep saying mezzanine, I think.
It's lit. Don't mind me.
When I let it slide, then somebody else has to call us out, and then it makes us both look bad.
It's very true.
So if I hear it, I usually don't even hear it anymore.
Coach Mez.
Yeah, stick to Mez. That's what I usually do. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off. I do it for you, listeners.
No, that's it. Just everyone still needs to hold me accountable. I'm fine with the tally. I've learned this week. Side note, real quick side note. I've learned this week that, or I guess over this last week, is that they are the Golden State Valkyries, not the Valkyrie.
Can't believe you didn't know that. I just thought you were saying like I never heard you say it wrong, but I didn't know that you were like saying it correct in your mind. I just thought you were saying it incorrect by accident.
I
thought you knew it was Valkyries.
I just assumed it was like the sun, the Valkyrie.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of them that are single digit in the W, but this one's not.
But no, Valkyries plural. So
it's written like Valkyries and everything that it's written on. But we're learning every day here. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Joe, sometimes it's both of us.
And a lot of time it's me a second time.
All right, second half of the ball game. Chelsea Gray passed Becky Hammond as 6th all-time on the leaderboard on assists. I don't know if I said assists. All-time assist leaderboard. Congrats, Chelsea. She didn't even know until after the game, I think, or halftime. No, this was after halftime. So she what?
She knew. Players know.
She seemed pretty not knowing her reaction. I don't know if she's a great actor or not. She was like, "What? Oh shit!" But they didn't like stop and like have a moment. So maybe
it's not really one of those two.
Yeah, so I could see how she wouldn't know. And so she's passing 6th all-time assists. So I could see how she wouldn't know. Jewel Lloyd hit a 3 for her first bucket of the game halfway through the third. I hate these notes. It's like we're losing big, and like one of their best players just got on the board halfway in the third quarter. Like, come on! Like we can't even like take advantage of that.
No, like Young was in foul trouble the whole first half, and like Asia was playing fine, but like we just couldn't find a way to get over the hump in that, between the plays.
Aces always find a way to get open players when we send help. The offense is fighting though in the third. Sun go up 3 in the quarter with 3 to go to cut it to 12 overall. Liv gets blocked by Asia, her 4th, and then Asia hits a 3, and then a 2 in Liv's face to go up 17 under 2 left. Mez calls a timeout. Last possession was the last 2. Peters gets blocked, and then Allen has a turnover. We're down 20, 70 to 50. Aces up at the end of the third. Not really much after this. Sun are playing against a 5 of Jewel Lloyd, KB, Stokes, Evans, and Nye in the 4th. Dana Evans, who has averaged 5 points at a game, has 15. Sanaya Rivers makes a nice spin move off a good defensive play. The crowd is still into it, down 20 in the 4th. So Mohegan Sun fans are still honestly pretty good. I don't know. We've seen a couple of people call them out on our chats, but I don't know. They're good. They're pretty good to me. LeCann hits her first 3. That's something. Commentary spent most of the 4th talking about Camp Day, and I can't even blame them. And it was worth it because Camp Day delivered. Marshall coming in with 2 minutes left. Last possession success. Allen gets a steal and a bucket from Morrow. 86-68 Aces final. Top performers Morrow with 12 and 3. It was a pretty empty 12 though. No big buckets or anything. Tina with 11 and 4 on 5 of 12 shooting. Rivers 10 and 7 on 5 of 13. Liv 9 and 7, only on 3 of 5 shooting. Like she should be shooting more. LeCann's first game 5, no rebounds and 1 assist. 4 fouls on 1 of 2 shots. Bad performers. Bria had a pretty bad game. 7 points, no rebounds, 2 assists on 2 of 8 shooting. Yeah, like I said, Dana Evans scored 18 points off the bench. We had 22 total bench points, which is a season high for her and the highest total points she scored since 2023. Joe, your final thoughts on this horrendous game before we can move on?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where it was just like a weird game because it felt winnable. We've talked about it with the Aces. It seems like they're going to be the Aniba team this year, where it's like some days they look like their championship selves and other games they don't. I really thought there was an opportunity in this game for us to keep it closer earlier. Asia Wilson took over that third quarter. I mean, they even posted the 3-minute or like the 2-minute stretch that she had where it was a steal, a layup, a block, a 3, and then another steal, and then the tough turnaround fadeaway that she hits over Nelson-Ododa. So like once that stretch happened, it felt like a wrap. I remember I was at my parents' and I was like, Alex, do I even bother watching the fourth quarter? Because I had watched the first 3 quarters there, and I was like, maybe I should probably get off my phone while my family's talking to me. And you were just like, yeah, watch it. Like nothing's gonna anger you. Like the fourth quarter is kind of just blah. It's just kind of there, and that's how it felt. I think it was great.
Versus their bench.
Yeah, just versus their bench. I thought it was great though that we talked about what players we want to see on the floor at the end of the game, and I felt. I mean, if you look at the minutes, just overall, Sanaya led the team with 31 minutes. Tina 24. Layla had 24 in her debut. Allen had 20, and then all the starters were about 20 minutes, and we talked about like Haley Peters not really getting 20 minutes, 25 minutes anymore, and she played 13 minutes, and you know what, it was fine. Like that's her role as that.
The role has been actually good.
Yeah, and since we've talked last about her like role, they've kind of transformed as well. I still think someone's listening on the inside.
Yeah,
but no, and we've talked about it. JC and Olivia have to get more shots up.
I know.
Morrow can't go 4 for 14. Sanaya can't go. I mean, 5 for 13 is not bad, but 13 shots overall. Tina 12 shots, but like Nelson-Ododa 3 for 5, great shooting percentage. JC Sheldon 3 for 5, 2 for 3 from 3 again. Like I told you, she's got to be getting upwards to 5 threes a game. If you're shooting 66% every time you're shooting 3 threes, like you have to be shooting 5 to 7 a game.
And I swear, Liv shoots 50% a game. She shoots like 3 of 6 or 4 of 8 a game.
Right around there. A couple free throws. Like Liv's been very solid in her role. I just love to see her get a few more of like the Tina touches, where it's instead of a tough like hook shot or a mid-range jumper, like she goes high-low with Olivia. And
especially if Tina's gonna have one of those games where she misses 75% of her.
Yep. Shot. And then in the post-game stuff, the only call that I really had was about Tina's shoulder. She said it's just something she deals with her entire career. So it's not that she's worried about missing time or anything, but she's like, it's something that I've worked through my entire career and it's not a big deal. And they asked her about it again today after today's game. But I figure I at least call it out there just to be like, she's going to be just fine. So we'll see. We'll see segue how that shoulder affected her into game 2.
Yeah, it did not. Spoiler. Coming into this game today, the 12-7 Storm coming to Uncasville to the 2-16 Sun. It's been 10 long games since we've seen a win. Can they do it today? I predicted that we could. You foolishly said we could not, I believe. The record will show what the record will show. Brown is still out for us. But besides that, nothing. Still just Marina and Brown. Our offense comes out decent early. Bria finds Tina a few times. Liv hits a shot for 6 points in about 9 possessions after JC fouls Skylar on a made 3 for a 4-point play. We're down 17-6. LeCan checks in and airballs a 3, but makes a nice move and finds Liv for an easy bucket to get an assist for LeCan. Bria has 8 points and is 2 of 2 from 3 in the first. She was feeling it. 27-18, though, Storm, end of 1. You want to check in?
Yeah, I really liked, and I know I've been critical over the last couple episodes of Bria Hartley. I thought early in this first quarter, a lot of her shots were on balance. I actually thought she was making really good decisions with the basketball as well, where a few of the other games, it seemed like she was just kind of looking for herself every time. She was the one who got interviewed after the first quarter, and she just said, when I'm aggressive, this team's better, which like isn't a wrong statement, but it's just doing the right things with that aggressiveness. And she got off to a good start. And like you can't, if players going to play well, we're not going to sit here and go, oh, they started playing well, now I have to say nice things about them. Like, no, like she had a really good first quarter, which like kept us afloat when there might have been a couple stagnant plays early on.
I have some post-game quotes from Bria and about Bria. I think you said you listened to it, but
yep,
for the listeners, if you hadn't, they're pretty good. And yeah, I've loved Bria this season. I've grown to love her. She's obviously a UConn alum, was there when we were in college. So honestly, those years are so hard to remember because I was up in New Hampshire and not able to watch college basketball. And we had like 6 channels our freshman year. Yeah. So but I've been so I like her a lot, but I've also been very critical of her. And I've said vocally that if we can get anything for her, obviously trade her. We're not going anywhere this year, and I would love for her to like have success elsewhere. But yeah, when she's good, it's honestly great for us, obviously. But yeah, we're gonna be critical of players, and we're gonna shout them out when they're good.
I think for her, I think her perfect role is being a 6-man, right? Like for us right now, she's starting,
but she's a woman.
Sorry.
No, I know they say 6-man too, and it throws me off. Like Tina was saying 6-man.
Yeah. No, so it's like whenever Marina does come back, like I think Bria moving to that bench unit is just great. That's a huge boost for the bench like that. And she's been forced to start with the injuries. Layla will talk about if she should be a starter sooner than later or if her role should be still off the bench. But like I think we're about to get a little bit deeper come All-Star break, and that could easily help us turn a couple games around.
Would you put Layla in the starting lineup over JC?
See, I really like JC on the floor because she's a floor spacer. Comparably, we're not a great shooting team. So it's probably it's a hard call because
are you taking Sanaya? You're not taking Sanaya off the floor.
I don't think you can take Sanaya off the floor. She's kind of like the pseudo 3 now, and I like her in that position. So you're really looking at that 2 guards in the backcourt. I don't think I'm going Layla yet, but I do think there's a point in the season where that might become a thing, and then JC and Bria come in off the bench. I could see it. Okay. But right now, early on, Layla Lacan, super 6-man, not going to complain about it.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. Start the second, Tina misses one of the easiest layups she'll have probably all year. Not as frustrating anymore, knowing the result of this game, but felt annoying at the time. Bria's
lefty layup.
No, it was just she got by her person. I think they gave it to her and just nobody was near her, and she just put it up and just hit the rim, and it just went right off into somebody else's hands.
She had a lefty layup where she threw like this really weird hook shot up, and I was like, "What was that?"
No, this was just like a perfect layup that she didn't make it. She was just like, "Oh shit." We all do it, but yeah, this one was bad. Bria trying to score on every time she touches the ball. These last few games, she did it before in the Aces game. She's doing it now, and if it works like this, it's a beautiful thing. She hits another 3 to cut it to 4. She has 13 points already. A season high was 19 versus the Storm when they played earlier. Morrow drives by Cook and gives her the 2 small as the Storm take a timeout. Only up 2 with 6:30 left to go in the half. Morrow's playing really good defense. She blocked Skylar after missing an open three herself. Tina makes a bucket and gets blown by on the other end, though. Bria makes a nice move and hits another shot and gives her 15, but then commits a foul, which is an and one on the other end. So a lot of that back and forth, like Bria and Tina both scoring on one end and then getting blown by or committing a foul and an and one on the other. Tina, again, she just keeps getting beat down low defensively. Under a minute left, JC commits a foul for an and one to go down 10. Tina hook shot to cut it to 8. Tina misses a shot. She probably got fouled on with no time left. 49-41 Storm, end of half.
Yeah, the biggest thing, we talked about last week too in my report card grade was adjustments. We'll kind of bleed this conversation into the third quarter, so I'll steal your thunder a little bit. But first half, like we said, I felt like, NECA and Ezzy were dominating on the inside, and not just scoring, just like every freedom of movement, and a lot of it was against Tina, whether it was off the pick and rolls with Gabby Williams and Skylar Diggins. I thought Skylar was on her way to a 30-point game again, like the way that she came out and was playing well and, had the and 1-3 early, like you said. But as we go into the third quarter, actually before that, Bria Hartley, she took one really bad shot in that second quarter. It was like a sidestep, fading, leaning three-pointer. And I was like, all right, well, we got to calm down there. Because, she was feeling good, but like it was just like a bad
check.
Huh?
Everyone gets a heat check.
Yeah, it was just like not a good heat check. And I was like, oh no, like you're playing well. Don't do this. Like, don't force it when you don't have to. But with I tangent myself there, sidetracked it. With Tina and her screen and roll coverage, it actually looked like an adjustment was made going into the third quarter, and they started blitzing the ball screen when Tina was involved. And all that caused was us to have to be a little more athletic, which with Sanaya, with Layla, with JC, with even Bria on the floor, like we were rotating pretty well. Yes, we were still giving up some buckets, but like they actually made an adjustment. It was like, Tina can't cover ball screens right now. We're just going to have her go double and then have Olivia be that backline defender if we need it.
Yeah, so at the half, Bria had 15, 3 and 4. She was 3 of 4 from 3 and 4 of 7 overall. Tina had 10 points on 4 of 9. Liv was 8 and 4, shooting 3 of 6. Morrow had 6 and 3, only bench points in the 29 bench minutes between the 4 players off the bench. The only other scorer for us was JC with 2 points. NECA, Gabby, Ezzy, and Skylar all had 10 plus points for them. So yeah, adjustments. Morrow start in the second half over Liv. What'd you think?
I kind of questioned it in the beginning. Not that like Morrow was playing bad, but I just like I don't know. I didn't love it. I think Olivia's been kind of a steady rock, and she's been the best interior defender that we had. So I don't know, but they saw something and they said we want to go small, and they went with Morrow, which is completely fine. I don't know. I just feel like they mess around with Olivia's minutes sometimes, and they're not consistent when they should be, because she has been just like such a steady rock all season long. But the default seems to be, we'll take Olivia out and we'll get her back in at some point. So did I love it? No. Did I understand why they went a little smaller to stretch it out? Yes. But
how'd it work?
When you win the game, you don't question it.
Yeah, but how did it work though? Worked pretty well.
It worked very well.
Yeah. All right. So in the second half, you got nice back-to-back possessions from a JC 3, then a Tina rebound, pass to Bria, long pass to JC, who goes up for the layup, but finds Sanaya, who then hits it and gets fouled to cut it back down to 6. Rivers then hits a 3 to cut it to 5. Obviously, there was a score in between. This isn't every possession. Rivers fakes the handoff to get an open layup. She's got 8 in the first 4 minutes of the quarter after, I don't think, scoring in the first half of the game. Rivers with another and one to tie the game. The Storm hit a 3, and then Tina loses it off her hands and then turns it over in our own parentheses. Please don't let this be the turning point of the game after we just tied it, because it felt like, man, a classic Sun moment for us where we come back a little bit. We usually don't even tie it, but where we're starting to gain momentum, and then they hit a big 3, and then we turn it over, and it's over.
And it's not even them hitting the big 3. There were so many times in that third quarter where, like, you felt the run coming for us, and then it was like missed offensive rebound or missed defensive rebound or a missed easy shot or a bounce pass turnover, like you said, off Tina's knee. Like, it just felt like, oh, here comes the storm, you know. Not trying to be punny at all, but like, here it comes, and like, hey, we played well for the first 2.5 quarters. Even the announcer said that starting the quarters has been the issue for us all season. It's not the lulls in the quarters; it's the start for whatever those first couple minutes. So,
we've been saying it too.
You could see it happening, but fortunately, like, we kept it right there. And Sanaya's run brought so much energy into that gym. It was awesome to see. I know they said a lot of the kids probably didn't even know what was going on, but it was just the noise and the music and the song. Like, the kids it was loud. You could hear it. I was listening on my phone, and through, like, you could hear it over the announcers calling the game. So it was awesome to see that energy in the third quarter.
So after the Storm hit a 3 and we turned it over, JC hits a 3 to cut it back to 2. Bria takes a crazy 3 that goes in and out, but leads to another open 3 for the Storm to go back down 5. Another thing that could have felt like a turning point. Tina gets a block and then a post up with a bucket on the other end. There was a quote that the broadcast said from Mezion. The quote was, "There's been a will to win at practice. Now can we put it into action on the court in a real game?" A lot of talk about how good practices have been from these players, and we'll get to it in the post game as well. But I've heard people say it before this game. I've heard them say it now during the game, and they say it after the game. So it's practice. They're not just being told to say this by the PR team. They believe they believe they're close.
And I think them being home for a little while here, because, you know, they had game in Minnesota June 29th, and then they were home. They didn't play until the 6th, so you got multiple days there. You had the holiday break. I saw Sanaya's Snapchats there. She is having a barbecue with some of the players. Like,
you got Sanaya on Snapchat?
Not Snapchat, Instagram. No, I do not have Rivers on Snapchat. Saw an Instagram story. But, like, they've been home now for pretty much 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So they've probably had a lot of time together, practicing, fighting, working hard. And you know what? This team really needed it.
Yeah, and this team genuinely likes each other too, it seems.
Definitely.
Last possession woes, can't end a quarter without it. Liv misses a layup, then commits a foul. Skylar gets an and one, and then Liv gets a technical. I thought this was the game. I thought, no way we're coming back from this. It's 74-66 Storm at the end of the third.
It was a well-deserved technical foul. She was clearly fouled on that end. Would have made 2 free throws, and the way she's shooting free throws, it would have made it.
Yeah, but you know the situation. It's a 6-point swing.
Well, and the thing as well, they didn't really even show what Olivia said. I bet you, because she's a quiet one that doesn't really complain, I bet you she just said a quick magic word of, like, that's bullshit, or fuck you. Excuse my language, YouTube. And
yeah, I mean, so what? Yeah, I know. She can't say anything. I mean, Liv, I love you, and you probably deserve to say it, but, like, you can't say anything. I mean, it didn't cost us. We played great in the fourth, but that's ooh.
But again,
like, it was a moment where that was like, we don't fight back from that.
That's just frustration, because even the foul on Diggins going the other way, there wasn't much more contact than what Liv had.
Yeah, the refs suck. We got to know that. We got to keep our composure.
Speaking of refs suck, how about that challenge in the third quarter when it was clearly off of Alicia Clark and had no business being challenged?
Oh, yeah. So
nobody
else touched it.
Nobody was near it. And the ref was
the ref was right in front of her. Yeah, so bad.
waste of a challenge. I know the announcers were like, "Oh, they have a challenge going into the fourth." I'm like, they should have had a challenge going into the fourth,
Yeah.
like regardless of this. But luckily, that didn't come into play.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for my rant on referees.
Yeah. So yeah, 74-66 Storm go end of the third. That's 8 points. But cut it in half, 4-0 run for Layla LeCan on herself. And then she has a nice dish to JC, who hits a 3 to cut it back to 2 with under 7 to go. I couldn't believe my eyes. What a run. JC transition bucket ties the game. Tina mid-range bucket gives Connecticut their first lead, 79-77. Do the math there. We had 66-79. That's 13. And they went from 74 to 77. That's 3.
Yep.
That's 13-3 lead. 13-3 run.
Huge run to start.
Sun up 3. Liv gets a block. Diggins cuts it to 1. Sun timeout with 3:15 left. Layla finds JC again for a 3 up 4.
The same exact play.
Yeah.
It was deja vu. I texted you. I'm like, I thought I was watching a replay, and it was the exact same play, and I loved it.
Layla drives by everybody for a layup. Rivers misses, but Tina gets a rebound and a putback. Rivers gets a steal and finds Tina for the bucket. Sun go up 10 with 1:15 left. Rivers blocks Diggins. Layla LeCan gets to the line and hits both. Wheeler hits a quick 2 to go up 10. Storm don't foul. Tina misses a layup. I don't know why she even shot it so quickly, but Storm missed a 3. Sun hold on. Rivers shoots and misses at the end of the shot clock. Of course, she couldn't hit it because it was us at the last end of a quarter. But anyway, we win 93-83, and Ode is winning. Feel good. Joe, before we get into the post-game quotes, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I thought we'd talk about adjustments. I thought it was awesome. Coach Mez played essentially the same players the entire fourth quarter. They got into a rhythm. They got into ball moving up and down the floor. Layla, I thought having the ball in her hands more, we got to see what her potential looks like.
I forgot to write top performers down too.
I think my favorite part of that fourth quarter was the fact that Layla went left twice, 3 times actually, scored on one of them, and then the other 2 was the dish where she had Olivia or Tina on the baseline, but then she was able to hit JC because the defense shrunk in. I can't. We've talked about it all season. No one on this team goes left. Like everyone, even Sanaya, her big and one in the third quarter was because she went left. And then she hit the running jumper that she got fouled on. Like you have to have someone to balance the floor, like to consistently do that. And so that was awesome to see. And then, this is the Tina we were asking for. I think, being in this game, I think Tina was a lot more focused. She was engaged. The ball was going in the hoop. I mean, she still took 22 shots, but she was 11 of 22. You're going to take that from her all the time if you can get it. So it was a really nice throwback the clock for her. She had a huge block as well in the fourth that led to a transition basket. I can't remember if it was a 3 or a 2 at this point, but I just thought, Coach Mez saw the win ahead of him. He saw the team was grooving, and he said, this is the team that's going to go through. Someone asked him about it after the game, and he's like, yeah, when players are playing well, he's like, you just use your timeouts. He's like, you got to just play those players. And it's completely true. Like you can't think about feelings. Like think about Bria Hartley had a really good first half. She didn't sniff the floor in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So like, these are all things that we want to see in close games. Those are winning decisions. Those are winning plays. Like we looked very good and the Storm just couldn't overcome it. And then one other quick call out, JC Sheldon was 4 of 6 from 3 again. Like, she's shooting the ball extremely well, and like she has to get open looks and she has to hit. Like she can't hesitate. 4 of 6 is awesome. Yeah. And most of that was taking place in the second half. So as much as I like seeing Bria Hartley get off early, get going early and everything, like JC was very, very important, is very important on this roster as like the pure shooter for us. So great win overall. I'll let you take it away with the post-game comments. It was a nice seeing a video that was longer than 5 minutes long. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Also, box score. We We only lost the first quarter. We lost at 27-18, then we won the second 23-22. We tied the third 25-all, and then we beat them 27-29 in the fourth.
No, 27-9.
What did I say? 27-29?
27-29.
Yeah, 27-9. We beat them 27-9.
Yeah, it was an avalanche. It was defensive stops. It was steals. I mean, Sanaya Rivers on defense is great.
Everyone.
Khan is great.
Yeah.
Like the two of them and JC on. I mean, that's you're not scoring on those three right now. Like if they're playing together and they're not fouling, and don't get me wrong, Lacan still had 4 fouls as she maneuvers how to do this, but like that's a really good perimeter defensive team.
Yeah. All right. Some quotes.
Yes.
Tina on the practices and on Bria Hartley. She said, "I think we've been able to put together some great days of practice where we've been able to turn it around. I want to say Bria's energy in all practices has been amazing. She's been a great leader vocally and just setting the tone for us in practice. The way she came out in the game definitely gave us confidence no matter what the score was, that we have someone to rely on, someone to look to as far as on how we can how to continue to go on. I really want to just give all kudos to Bria and just her focus on how she'd been locked in the entire week, no matter what's going on, to be able to handle business and lead the way." That's high praise from somebody who is like the leader on the team, to basically say you've been leading well.
Yeah, I feel like she could have just said, "Joe, we heard what you said," and she's turned it.
Remind the people what you said. What did you? I don't even remember that much.
Oh, I just said I don't want to watch her play 20 minutes straight, and like her role needs to be smaller, and then we started talking about potentially trading her, but not that maybe that thought has changed, but the idea.
Yeah, no, I just wanted you to say it again.
Yeah, I think she's busy. I mean, if they're saying she's been a great leader at practice, she comes from UConn, and it's a winning factory, we'll call it, and like she's played under Coach Gino. Yeah, that's easy to say. And but yeah, so it's like that's awesome to hear from Tina. That's very high praise to not just do that like behind closed doors where like you see it, but to actually like say that out to the media and put it out there, like that's awesome from Tina. She's such a pro.
JC on Layla Lacan. She's a really good player. She's really good at finding people and making plays, whether that's her scoring or her finding someone on the outside. But I think for us today, it was playing together on the offense and really complementing each other's games. Bria on the team's identity. I think our identity is that we need to come out with energy, and I think I put that on myself, coming out with energy and being aggressive. I thought today on the offensive end, we were a lot more aggressive. We got a lot on the line. We got to the line more, where if we're able to do that, it puts pressure on the defense, and it's better momentum for us coming out. And on the defensive end, she was very complimentary towards Sanaya and Layla.
Alex did 21 assists. We had 21 assists this game. Sanaya had 7, JC had 4, Hartley had 5, Layla had 3, and then a couple players with 1. I don't know if that's season high because we had a lot of assists in that Lynx game, so I couldn't tell that. But just looking at the box score again, like 21 assists, you're going to win a lot of games when the ball's moving like that.
Yeah. Last quotes are from Mez. In his opening statements, he said, quote, "You can see that when we play with energy, intensity, and with some consistency, we are capable of competing against one of the best teams in the league." And then Mez on not subbing in the fourth, he said, quote, "I wanted to keep the players in the court because they were efficient on both sides of the court. I asked Tina if she wanted a timeout to take a break, and she said, no, we have good momentum. I was planning on using my timeout to give a rest to the players, but when we are playing like that, it's a risk. We keep the players in, and we are sticking to the game plan, and they were playing great. Sometimes these players deserve to be on the court, and sometimes these other players deserve to be on the court. And today it was these fives to close it out. And the top performers of the game were Tina. She had 29 and 11. both season highs. She shot 11 of 22. JC 16, 2 and 4 on 5 of 8, 4 of 6 from 3. Bria 15, 3 and 5 on 4 of 8. Rivers 11, 4 and 7 on 4 of 9. Liv 8 and 6. Lacan 8, 4 and 3. Morrow 6 and 7. We shot 44.4% from 3 and 49.2% overall. Shot 21 of 22 from the free throw line. And that's all the stats I have. You got anything else before we get into how fantasy went?
No, let's do it. Let's talk about my fantasy victory.
Yeah, how do you think you did?
I gotta say, I think my key player actually might have been Nelson Smith from the Aces. I feel like that got me a lot more points than I thought it was going to as a late pick there. I think I won. I feel pretty good about it.
The teams were I had Asia Wilson, Nneka Ogwumike, Jackie Young, Anissa Morrow, JC Sheldon, and Dominique Malonga. You had Skylar Diggins, Gabby Williams, Chelsea Gray, Olivia Nelson-Ododa, Tina Charles, and Melissa Smith.
I won by 150.
You did win, and it was pretty significant. You are now tied with me overall, 4 of 4. 4 and 4. You had 197 points this week to my 152. That is 45 points gained. For those keeping track, you were down 42 last week, so you are up 3 points this week.
It's the Seattle players.
I have redone all my my notes for fantasy, so now I have everything like highlighted with total points. Highlighted for like most points in a week, which was you week 2 with 303. The least was you week 5 with 144. The most was me week 4. I beat you by 65. The most I've been up was by 2 games or by 2 weeks, and by plus 52 overall. Or no, 52 overall, but 65 was one week's results. And then the running total was 52 1 week. The top scorer overall was Nafisa Collier week 2 with 53 points. And the least was Sanaya Rivers when she got sick, but was still on the roster. She got 0 points.
Active. Yeah.
No one's got 1 point. We're stuck. We'll see this week had a pretty low one. And then week 1, we both had a 3-pointer. But besides that, it's in 6 or 7. All right. So, So you won. Asia Wilson for me got 28 points. She only had 3 rebounds and 1 assist. Wow. Not a great first pick for Asia that week. Nneka Ogwumike 28, Jackie Young 24, Anissa Morrow had 18 and 14, JC Sheldon had 16 and 22, and Dom only had 2 points, sadly. Joe Schuyler for you had 35, Gabby 28, Chelsea Gray 16. Liv had 2 games for 17 each. Tina had 19 and a booming 41. And Melissa Smith 24 was much better than Jewel Lloyd, who had 13, who you could have picked. You won 197 to 152, and you take the lead by 3 points overall, and we're tied week to week.
Yeah, that value from Tina this week was pretty substantial.
Yeah, she's back in fantasy. She's back. We got 3 games this week to preview into fantasy. It's a big week. There's a lot of stars.
Yes.
A lot of studs on the Aces. There's a lot of studs on the Fever. There's a lot of studs on the Storm. And we got to play them all. And as we preview week 9, you want to talk about anything before that?
No, I think we're good to go.
Let's go. The last 3 games before the All-Star break. Where are the Suns in the league? Well, not much has changed still. We're still pretty bad league-wise. Liv is 5th in the W in blocks per game with 1.4. Good for Liv. We're tied for 4th in W in free throw percentage at 79.9. We score the 4th highest points off 2-pointers at 55.3%. And score the highest percentage of points from mid-range at 16%. Our first game this week is on Friday the 11th. We are taking our 3-16 selves and heading across country with Seattle as they also are leaving Connecticut. And they are 12-8. And despite beating them They were on a long West Coast to East Coast road trip, and they had been undefeated by beating Atlanta and New York. And a reminder how good the Storm can be. They still rank similarly to where they did last when we previewed them. In the W, they're still second in assists. They went from third to fourth in blocks per game, still third in steals per game. Went from fourth to third in field goal percentage, second to third in 3-point percentage, second to first in highest percentage of 2-point points. Diggins is still fourth in the assist per game. Ezzy is third in blocks, and Gabby still leads in steals. In the 2 games the Storm and Suns have played, one on each coast, the series is tied 1-1. For the Storms, Diggins is averaging 23.5 points per game and 6 assists in those 2 games. Gabby 18.5 points. NECA 14 points. In one game she had 12 rebounds. In the other she had a 4-rebound game. So one on each end of the spectrum. And then for the Sun, Bria is averaging 17 points per game against the Storm. JC 15.5 and Morrow 13-9. Morrow had a 20-11 game and a 6-7 game. Tina with a 7-2 and a 29-11, and Sanaya had 4 points and then 11. So 2 completely different games for a lot of our players. Gabby, NECA, and Diggins have all been pretty good though. Injury report: no news on injuries. Only one would be an update for Jaylen Brown, which we do not have. Joe, after seeing us actually play really well today, what is your X's and Joe's path to victory?
So I'm gonna kind of go in a little different direction here. I think it was kind of cool. A couple of the comments we've heard today was that they're treating these 2 games like a playoff series. I thought that was a very interesting dynamic to do and kind of a cool thing to talk about because not very often are you playing the same team back to back, a home and an away, especially when it's like this where it's East Coast, West Coast. Sometimes they do that where it's you're closer in travel, so you're not traveling as much. And they talked about, treating this like a playoff series. So if you want to look at the first game, they took game 1, here's game 2, and let's call this a deciding game 3. You expect the Storm to shoot better at home than they did here, even though they still put up 83 points. I think really in that second half, they put a lot more pressure we talked about on the ball screens that involved Tina and Skylar Diggins because, Skylar is a smaller guard, as good as she is. So, having those hands in her face could make a difference. I'm looking to see how our role players respond. Does Sanaya score 11 points, double digits again? Does JC shoot 4 of 6 from 3? Does her shot travel? Right? We think it does so far this season. She's been one of the most consistent shooters, not just on our team, but in the league when she gets the volume. And then, is Tina going to have 7 points or is she going to have close to 30 points? We've seen both styles of the matchup. We were down 31 at one point in the first game against them. And, we were able to be the ones to do the onslaughting in the fourth quarter. I'm interested to see just, what they see on film. I think Tina said it as well. Like, hey, we're going to look at the good things and expand on it. And we're going to look at the bad things and do our best to fix it if we can. So I think it's a very interesting experiment here to do with all these young players to treat it like a playoff series. I'm curious how that looks in practice and film. But I mean, you can't say that they're going to go out there and play the same game and score 100 points. I'd probably lean that we're not going to score 100 points against them, again, come close to it. So really at the end of the day, it's how are you going to limit Skylar Diggins' touches? I thought them taking JC off of her and moving a combination of Rivers and Lacan made a difference with the length. So I'm interested to see if they continue to do that. We talked about them going small in the third quarter comparably and how that worked out for them. I think them going small, the more I'm thinking about it as the podcast is going on, was to give Tina more space in the middle where you at least have to respect Anissa from the 3-point line, where it's really not Olivia's game. I think she's taken 1 3 this year. So I can see them building on how they were successful, but every game of basketball is different. Like, you got to go out there and actually play the game. And I think if you put us in a competitive game, we've shown now on both sides that we can win some and we've lost some. So a lot of words to say. Alex, I don't know.
Well, what's our path? If you have this, how do we get there? If you had to pick,
so it's limiting Skylar. I think not just her touches, but how she's able to create off the pick and roll. She's one of the top pick and roll players in the league. Whether it's Malonga, Ezzy, or NECA setting the screen. And then on the other end, I do think Gabby Williams has emerged as a 2 on this offense, where NECA might more be taking into that like third scorer role. So it's continuing to make life hard on her. And I really love the way Sanaya guarded her. So it's limiting their 2 perimeter players and, controlling the boards. We had 38 rebounds today against them. Huge. And we still gave up offensive rebounds.
Just don't get off to a slow start and fucking play the best 5 in the fourth quarter the entire time. My expectations are I expect Seattle to get their win back. As I predicted, they were on the end of a cross-country road trip, and we took advantage and played really well. Our defense looked really good, and Seattle averaging 87 points per game. Our offense looked really good. Against Seattle, we're averaging 87 points per game. So with LeCan getting more and more comfortable and confident, I won't count us out, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself and having now to travel to them and face the team we just ended our embarrassing losing streak against. I won't necessarily pick a win. They'll want to whoop us at home and feel good and get their crowd involved. Hopefully we're feeling it and we're full and confident and we play. And if we're going to lose games now, it's by a small amount. But we'll get to record predictions, so we don't have to commit to anything yet. But yeah, I think Seattle will play a lot better.
It's really hard not to overreact. It was great to see the players' reaction to winning today. It almost felt like it was like a playoff game that they won, just based on the atmosphere and everything, and how they were jumping around a little bit, doing handshakes and stuff. But at the same time, like, that win had to feel good. So, you look to see
for the kids
as a coach how they build on it, right? You got the win. You played really well in the fourth quarter again. So how do you translate that to the first 3 quarters?
All right, game 2. You ready? First time playing a new opponent here. The 3-16 Suns stay on the West Coast, and we take on the 6-13 Sparks from Los Angeles. The Sparks play the Lynx on Thursday before the Suns are in Los Angeles, and they're coming off a 2-point win against the Fever in Indiana and a 10-point loss in Brooklyn against the Liberty. The Sparks are tied for 4th in steals per game at 7.6, 5th in field goal percentage at 44.1. Plum is 3rd in the W in points per game at 20.1 and 4th in 3-pointers made with 44. Ezra Stevens is 3rd in rebounds per game at 8.5, and De'Erica Hamby is 2nd in steals per game at 1.9, behind Gabby Williams, and 4th in field goal percentage at 53.7. The injury report, the Sparks had a lot of injuries before, but it's just Cam Brink now, so they're pretty healthy. Joe, back to you. What is the path to victory on this one? This is a brand new team, a team you were high on before, a team with a lot of offense, but a team that hasn't necessarily been winning a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like been a tale of 2 seasons so far, where early on they had a lot of injuries. Cam Brink still out. Julie Alamond, I'm hoping that's how we pronounce it. She played overseas. So she wasn't with the team. She's a very prominent guard on their team. Ray Burrell was injured. Like they were in and out. So like they've put up numbers. They've had people put up numbers. They've, led by Kelsey Plum, like you said, Derek Hamby, and Azura Stevens, both having really good years. So I actually think their roster is very similar to Seattle's, right? You have the power guard in Plum. She's very very Diggins like. You have Alamond, who's like the Erica Wheeler. So like she's a very steady point guard / off guard. Hamby and Stevens are very much like NECA and Ezzy. And then Rakea Jackson is kind of your little bit of do it all, like a Gabby Williams. So like they're getting back, they're healthy. They played really well against the Liberty the other day. I watched that game. So I think it's a lot of you got to force Plum into taking tough shots. While she can score 20 to 25 points a game, she also has games where she might shoot like 4 of 11 or 5 of 17. So you got to continue to force her to take tough shots. I do think the key is inside. I think it's our forwards versus their forwards, right? So it's how do Nelson-Ododa and Charles play against Steven and Hamby? Both of them and the 4 of them are all very similar in how they play. Where Hamby and Olivia are more put the ball on the ground and try to get to the basket, where Stevens is more clean it up on the inside, pop out for a 3 every now and then, like Tina is. So whoever's going to win those 2 matchups, I think, takes this game. I mean, there's opportunity for sure. The Sparks are not a complete team. They're not that deep. They just picked up Julie Van Loo, who was waived by the Valkyries the other day. So they're now on, I'm going to say it like that every time now, aren't I? And they are, they have a roster who I think is in competition. I didn't even talk about Barker, who's got a little less of a role, but she's very JC Lake, where if she can get going from 3. But yeah, this roster all around so far hasn't been living up to expectations. I know they have injuries, but they're starting to come back and implementing those players. But at the end of the day, I think it starts and stops with Kelsey Plum and how you limit her impact on the game.
All right. My expectations for the Sun versus Sparks battle, first game of the season. Sparks have a great starting 5, but they're not deep at all. Like, they might be thinner than us. They play 3 to 5 bench players, about 20-something minutes, and get almost no production from them. Sarah Ashley Barker is somebody who I said could be the steal of the draft. She hasn't really been producing much. Sanaya Fagan hasn't been even getting minutes. And so it's not like they didn't have young players on their bench to play. They have people. They're just not plugging and playing the right people and getting production. Or these players aren't ready yet. And the players that are playing aren't scoring.
They also waived Odyssey Sims, who was like a decent contributor off their bench as well.
But yeah. I don't think she was like putting up great numbers, but she's been in the league and can play. What was I going to say next? But the core of Plum, Jackson, Stevens, and Hamby is really strong. It isn't winning them a lot of games, but if we could have another strong showing, like we can have another strong showing in Seattle, I think we can possibly win this game. It wouldn't surprise me. But obviously, like, they could have a couple huge games offensively and easily beat us and make us look foolish. But
they run a lot of pick and rolls. So how do we guard the pick and roll? That seems to be a problem we've had all year long.
Yeah, don't double team and let people get wide open. Just don't do that. All right, you ready for game 3, the Boston game?
Game 3 of the Boston game.
All right, Tuesday the 15th, the Sun take on the now 9-10 Indiana Fever in Boston, one of our home games. The Fever are coming off back-to-back losses. They are the Commissioner's Cup champions. They've won a game after that, but they have come off back-to-back losses since. First to the Sparks, like we said. I believe I don't even know if I mentioned it, but the Sparks beat them by 2 in Indiana. And then earlier today, they lost to the Valkyrie in Indiana again, 80-61. What?
Valkyries.
What did I say? Valkyrie?
Yeah, you singleized it.
Oh, well, they lost to the Valkyries by
singleized. That's not a word. Continue.
They lost to Golden State by at home in Indiana by 80 to 61. And nobody played well on the team. The Fever right now are 5th in points per game at 82.8, second in field goal percentage, shooting 45.7. Aaliyah Boston is 5th in rebounding with 8.3 and first in field goal percentage, shooting 58.4. Caitlin Clark is 2nd in assist point per game at 8.6. Natasha Howard is 3rd in field goal percentage, shooting 54%. Kelsey Mitchell is 5th in the W and 3-pointers made with 43 and is leading the Fever in points per game at 19.3. Lexi Hull is 2nd in 3-point percentage in the W at 47.2. Not that she shoots that many, but she hits them. In the 2 games this season, Indy and Connecticut have played. They're tied at 1-1. There was the game where Caitlin Clark didn't play and we won for our first win of the season. And then there was the game where Caitlin Clark did play and there was a brawl. Aaliyah Boston is averaging 13, 7, and 6.5 in these games. Natasha Howard is averaging 12.5 and 9. Kelsey Mitchell is averaging 15 points per game. Caitlin Clark had 26 and 1 in the one game she did play. Tina is averaging 19 points per game. Liv averaging 11 and 8.5, and Rivers averaging 9.5 and 5.5 assists. No injuries to report. Joe, path to victory.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a tough one to have right before the All-Star break. But you're going up against a team that is struggling to be consistent as well. So there's hope that you can disrupt them. This game is being held in Boston, so the atmosphere is going to be crazy. It's going to be very cool to see this game in an NBA arena. I really hope they compete. It's going to be a lot of conversation about what happened in the last game between JC and Caitlin. You know how this game is on ESPN. You know how ESPN works. I'm sure Ruocco is going to be calling the game with Rebecca Lobo. Like, there's going to be a lot of eyes and a lot of attention on this game. So, like, my word to the wise is that you got to be the aggressor in this game, and that doesn't mean play dirty. That doesn't mean throwing people around again and all that, but like, go to the basket. I'm guaranteed the referees are going to get very specific orders about this game to not let it get out of hand based on what happened last time. So if I'm the Sun, you've got bodies now. Like, I am throwing different bodies at Caitlin Clark, and not the dirty stuff that everyone thinks happen every game, but you do have to bump her. You do have to play physical with her and get her off her line. Same with Kelsey Mitchell. Like, you have to be physical. And I think it is going to be a physical game on the outside, on the inside. So it's being the aggressor, but doing it in the smart way, right? Coach Mez put it best. Like, find your character, but don't lose your mind. That's the key to this game. It's going to be high tension. I'm sure it's going to get chippy at some point, but like, you have to keep your head and be like, hey, we're hopefully coming off of either a couple wins, a win, and we want to go into the All-Star break on a positive note. And I think, it's the same notion. I know I sound repetitive, but like, a lot of these teams that are coming up, play similar, where they have a ball dominant guard, they have a scorer on the wing, and then they're running pick and rolls with Howard and Aaliyah Boston. So it's how you guard the pick and roll. If you struggle, Boston's very good at catching it in that mid-post area. And if no one's in front of her, she's taking a little jumper or a layup. But if you overcommit or trap or double team in that middle area, she's kicking it out to Lexi, Sophie Cunningham, Kelsey Mitchell. Like, they have shooters. They are loaded. So, I'm excited. I think it's going to be an awesome game to watch, regardless of what the score ends up being, just because of the atmosphere that it's going to bring. But, all 3 games are very similar this week. It's stop the lead guard as best you can, make their life difficult. And, now we have a little bit of length that we can use, and hopefully that puts us in a better place.
All right, well said. My expectations, I'm trying not to ride the high thinking about these games coming off the win today, but I've already set my expectations lower for the Storm game. I don't think we will play. I do think we will play well against the Sparks, and I do think we play well in Boston against the Fever, who, even though they did win the Commissioner's Cup, good for them. They are struggling right now, and they're limping into the All-Star game, and we could take advantage of them as we could be getting hot, getting into the All-Star game. So feed into the energy, feed into the crowd. Caitlin Clark's getting mad right now. There was video of her slamming shit on the bench today. So she's either going to come out and like drain 9 threes in JC Sheldon's face, or she's going to be awful. So maybe she's awful. Don't want to say too much because we'll get into record predictions now. Joe, floor is yours. We got 3 games, Storm, and be specific. Storm, Sparks, Fever. What do you got?
So I think I agree with you. I think the Storm get their win.
I haven't made predictions yet.
No. I'm saying I agree with you from your analysis. I do think the Storm potentially get their game back. I don't think it has anything to do more so with how we play, but more so how they're going to play. Might tighten up some things. Noelle Quinn is one of the better coaches in the league. She's one of the longest tenured coaches in the league. So I'm sure her and her team are going to go back and look at film and say, hey, how do we make some adjustments as well? I do think that now that we've seen I don't want to call it a blowout because we only won by 10, but just how the fourth quarter went, we've seen us down 31 points against them. We've seen us win a fourth quarter. We've actually won both fourth quarters against the Storm this year, so it's like maybe there is something to that. Maybe it's just one of those random basketball things that we'll talk about, that the Sun won all the fourth quarters against the Storm this year, but it means absolutely nothing. But I do think that's going to be a competitive game. I just think the Storm at home find a way to I almost did a Jeff Goldblum expression in Jurassic Park. Life finds a way. But sorry.
The Storm is a loss.
Storm is a loss. So
all right.
Storm is a loss. I'm going to go short and sweet on this one. I do think the Sparks could be a potential victory. I am going to mark it as a victory. I still don't think they are a deep team. I think we have the perimeter defenders now to throw at a team like the Sparks, to cover Plum. I X'd out of the tab. The international player who just came back, Julie Aldenine or whatever. I know I said her name like 3 times before, but now my computer's buzzing. Alamond. Sorry. Julie Alamond and Rakaya Jackson. I do think we have the length and the height to throw at them on the perimeter. So I'm going to put that down as a victory.
Okay.
And then for the Fever game in Boston, as much as I do want to do it and pull the trigger, I think it's a much more competitive game than the public media will probably say. But I do think Indiana finds a way to pull out a game that is going to be much closer than I think everyone will think it will be. So 1-2 total.
Yep. All right. I got you there. I am going with a loss for the Storm as well. I am going a win for the Sparks. I do think we can beat them. Play well against the Storm. If we get blown out by the Storm, I think we lose all 3. But play well against the Storm, beat the Sparks, and then we're going into Boston. We're taking this game, and we're shocking the world. We're beating the Fever. 2-1 this week. So we got the results. We're putting it in here. Hold on. So far, the running total, we're 3-16. Your running total is 5-14. Mine's 6-13. Specific games that we've predicted correctly, though, I'm at 12. You're at 13. So 1 week I got it. The weeks I got it 1-1, but I got the games wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's happened, I think, a couple times. So we've predicted different things, but yeah. So that's where we're at for that. So brightest star this week.
Oh, brightest star of the week.
Last week we
last week. My fault.
No, we're going. Get ready to pick yours. But
Yep.
last week we went. I went Anissa Morrow. You went Tina Charles, and it was Tina Charles. It was close. They both got Player of the Game once, but Tina had the much better game. So you're up to 3 points. I'm still at 1 point. I'm picking Tina Charles this week. I think she'll have another big week. I think she's going to close out the week before the All-Star game big. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm curious to see because based on the schedule, right? So they play the 11th and the 13th and the 15th. So that kind of worries me with the 3 games in 6 days.
Got a whole week off.
I know, but I'm saying like with Tina, how she's been in these kind of games where it was like multiple games. I know we played
She came off the bench
as
and
well.
then came off the bench and then dominated.
So I mean, I'm saying all this,
Pretty well,
but
she dominated, but
I think it is Tina. I think for us to be successful this week, to go 2-1 in your eyes or play competitive in all 3 games, like Tina has to be even 80% of what she was today.
So not possible for me to gain a point on you this week, but probably the smart choice. All right. And what about another bright star? I'll let you go first.
I want to pull the trigger on Layla, but I don't think it's time to do that yet. I think
all you have to do is be impressed by her.
I think it's JC. I think she's the other option. I think in games that she is shooting well, good things can happen for us. I think she has that opportunity with the playmakers now on this roster, adding Bria Hartley in her last game being more of actually a true point guard or a scoring guard. But I think JC's in for a big week, and she's got her rematch with Indiana. So
Nice.
hopefully she comes out and isn't just 3 fouls in the first minute of the game.
Yeah, just so you know, you're 3 weeks in a row picking JC for another bright star.
Is it really?
Yeah, and so let's go over last week what we think if we should give ourselves a point or not. I had Olivia Nelson-Ododa. She had a 9-7 game and an 8-6 game. I'm not going to give myself a point there. I am not. I expect more.
That's what we expect from her.
Yeah, I need her to shoot more. We want to see more. You had JC Sheldon. She had 8-5-2 and 16-2-4.
Half point?
Nope.
I think I'm giving her a point just based on the Seattle game.
Yeah.
I think the Seattle game was the one that kind of took it. The score in the Aces game didn't really do it justice. I mean, she went 2 of 3 from 3. She played pretty good defense, but the Seattle game I think gives her the nod.
All right, so we close that. You pick JC again this week. I'm picking Bria Hartley. She's playing like a team captain, like a leader, like an all-star. Like she's playing like she wants the ball and she wants to score. So let's see it. Don't have another game where you're 2 for 9. Just put the ball in the hoop and play a good game. All right, so now it's just left is fantasy draft. And Joe, you have the first pick.
And since there's 3 games, it's very hard not to go with a Connecticut Sun. So I'm going to take Tina Charles with my first pick.
That was my number 1 on my board. She's averaging 15.5, 5.1, and 1.4. Just had a monster game today. I will go with number 2 on my board. She's killed us in both her games. And I haven't had her yet. You've taken her both times. It's Skylar Diggins, 18.5, 2.2, and 6.0. Her numbers aren't as good as maybe her teammates, but against us, they are better.
And I cannot let you double up with Seattle and take the 2 that I've been taking. I got to think she's number 3 on your board, if not 4. I'm going to go with Gabby Williams.
Oh, Gabby, okay. Number 8 on my board, 13.8, 4.8, and 4.5. All right, I'm going to go with number 3 on my big board, 14.8, 8.5, and 2.0, Azura Stevens.
That's not where I thought you were going. That's not where I thought you were going. So I'm going to go to Indiana, And I'm going to take Aaliyah Boston.
Okay, 9th on my big board. 16, 8, and 2.3. Or 3.4. 8.2 and then 3.4. All right, then I will. Oh, damn. I kind of thought you would take this person. So all right, then I'm going to drop on my big board and not have to take somebody worse. I'm going to go 7th on my big board and take Neko Gumake. Close out Seattle. 17, 8, and 2.3. Going strategy here.
Then that leads me to the Sparks, and I'm going to take Kelsey Plum.
Okay. She was 4th on my big board, but I kind of didn't want to take her because I kind of wanted 5th on my big board. Kelsey Plum's 20.1, 3.2, and 5.6. And I'm going to close out my Sparks here with De'Erica Hamby. Big fan of her. 17 points, 7.6, and 3.8. All right. So I have two Storm and 2 Sparks, and you have 1 Connecticut, 2 once. You have 1 of everyone.
Yep.
Okay.
So I am going to go back to Connecticut.
Okay.
And
all right, so I don't need to take Connecticut. I can take my Indianas.
Just kidding. Going to Indiana, taking Caitlin Clark. I feel like at this value.
All right, then I can take my Connecticut's. Right, because you have both now.
I have 2 Indiana. I have 1 Seattle.
So Kelsey Mitchell will be there at the end.
Yes.
Caitlin Clark was 10th on my big board. Kelsey Mitchell is 6th.
Wow.
So I would have taken Kelsey Mitchell. Caitlin Clark, 17.4, 5, and 8.6. She's been shooting pretty bad. So she either breaks it against us or continues.
Trends continue.
All right, so can't take Natasha Howard, 11th on my big board. Can't take Rakia Jackson, 12th on my big board. So that brings me to Connecticut only, right?
Why can't you take Natasha Howard? Didn't you only pick Kelsey Mitchell?
Yeah, I'm going to take her last.
Oh, I see.
No, I only took did I take any?
You haven't taken anyone from Connecticut.
Oh, yeah, so I'm going to take Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard.
Okay. Are you taking Natasha Howard right now?
No, you took both, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So I have to take Connecticut. Did you take both your Connecticut's?
I have not. I've only taken Tina.
I think you're going to take her. I think you're going to take whoever. I think you're going to take whoever I don't take regardless. So I'll just take Bria. 7.9, 1.8, and 3.0.
Yep, and those numbers have definitely been inflated. I am now going to go back to Connecticut. I need a Seattle. Who did you take off of Seattle?
Skylar and NECA.
So give me Ezzy.
All right. She was 15th on my board, 7.6, 6.4, 2.5.
15th on your board, but nobody else from Seattle was above her.
No.
Right.
So I'm going to take Liv at 14th on my board, 8.8, 6.2, and 0.9.
I know. Sorry, Liv. I betrayed you this week. I've been taking you every week in fantasy. So then if you take Liv, then I'm going to go back to the Sparks and take Rakia Jackson.
Pretty sure it's Rakia Jackson, but you can have her anyway.
Rakia Jackson.
11.9, 2.7, 1.9. She should. I want to see her on a team that can feature her more. All right, so I'm going to
fourth option.
Yeah, she's like a 10-point per game player. She could be like almost 20. I feel like I'm going to take Kelsey Mitchell, 18.9, 1.7, and 2.7.
You already took her.
No, I didn't yet. I thought I didn't take anyone.
No, these are the last 2 picks.
Oh, then Natasha Howard.
Right? Didn't you take Kelsey Mitchell already? I thought you did.
if I have 2 picks left, I didn't take anyone from the Fever. If I have
Oh,
one
my
pick
bad.
left,
Maybe you just mentioned that you were going to take them.
yeah, I said I was going to take her last. Then I realized I haven't taken Natasha Howard either, so I have to take both of them.
Okay.
So Kelsey Mitchell, 18.9, 1.7, 2.7.
Then that leaves me. Started the podcast this way. I'm ending the podcast this way. Viva La France.
Wow, didn't
Give
even
me
put
Layla Khan about to enter fantasy relevance.
all right, 18th on my board. Under Morrow and Erica Wheeler.
Morrow's tough because her minutes are just so inconsistent.
Yeah, sure.
It's tough. So give me the budding role player.
All right, and I'll take Natasha Howard, scoring 11.3, 6.6, and 1.2. So you have Tina Charles, Kelsey Plum, Gabby Williams, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Rakia Jackson, Ezzy Magabor, and Layla Khan. And I have Skylar Diggins, Azra Stevens, De'Arica Hamby, Kelsey Mitchell, Neko Gumake, Natasha Howard, Bria Hartley, Olivia Nelson-Ododa. All right.
Scary on paper. I won't lie.
I could have had Stevens and Plum, but I know I want Hamby.
Yeah, I feel like this week I went with all the guards. Comparably to what I normally do.
Yeah, I got Bria and Skylar and Kelsey. I'm nice even split. All right, we're actually a relatively short podcast this week.
No, it's good. We're getting better at less fluff between the two of us.
It's not fluff, it's important podcast information. You got anything
Banter.
else you need to talk about?
For our British viewers, it's called banter.
Yeah, or Australian.
No, I think that's it. I'm looking forward to next couple games. We have a couple fun things lined up for the All-Star week, so should be something good there. And then, yeah, I mean, are we trying to go to Boston?
You buying? I'm driving.
But you don't get comp tickets for that one.
I do not.
Well, no, we're we'll probably try to do something for that day in some capacity. Maybe we'll try to watch the game together or something.
Yeah.
Since it's going to be, nationally televised NBA arena. Should be good.
Yeah, you, me, and Ryan Rucco. Rebecca Lobo.
Yep. But no, glad we got the win today. It's nice filming one of these after a victory. It's kind of nice that it was same day as well. And
yeah, put it out a nice little reaction video of the last few minutes of the game. Go watch that on YouTube, preferably. Go subscribe to our YouTube.
Check it out. Hit the
How
bell.
many subscribers do you think we gained from me asking our Twitter follow or our Instagram followers to subscribe?
I want to say it jumped like 10 at one point.
3.
Well, what I always say,
actually no, it went from 23 to 27 actually.
Okay.
So 4.
Okay. But as I always say, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We're here.
I just don't get it. Are people not on YouTube?
I feel like it's harder to get on YouTube.
It shouldn't be. The Connecticut Sun. How many subscribers do you think they have?
200 something.
200 something?
2,000 something.
Joe, are you fucking kidding me?
How many subscribers does the Sun have?
355,000.
God, people, just go find our video right off of it.
Connecticut versus Seattle, player of the game, Tina Charles, though. 9 hours uploaded, 17 views.
Yeah, and I'm 2 of those.
Yeah, fucking 85 views, 181 views, 52 views. The comeback, whatever that is, it looks like Alyssa Thomas working out. 3.9 thousand. Yeah, they don't get that many views, but they have fucking a shit ton of subscribers.
That's all that matters.
I want to go live and start doing shit.
Add it to the laundry list.
I want fucking fans or fucking viewers.
All right. I think that's all we got, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's head out to the West Coast and get another couple wins here.
Don't go partying in LA when we're in, or don't go partying in Sacramento while we're out there in LA. Joe, at least Joe's ending on a laugh, Randy, and not a fucking frown. All right, bring the heat.
Bring the heat.